Hello there, and welcome back to coverage here at GP Hartford. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Melissa DeTora and Rich Hagan. And we are underway here in round number 2, where we've got Christian Chagnon. He's playing against the champ, Osyp Lebedowicz. Comes out of New Jersey, and while he isn't quite as active as he once was in the Magic scene, this guy was a titan of the game in the
early 2000s.
Yeah.
2003 Pro Tour champion, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yes, you are absolutely right. That was actually my first Pro Tour.
I was going to say,
Pro Tour Venice.
Was Osyp an end boss for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your career?
Yeah, definitely. When I was not that good at Magic and I was just starting to get into Pro Magic, yeah, he was from the New Jersey area, and there was always this New England-New York rivalry.
Oh.
And he was on the New York end of things, because New Jersey and New York, they played at the same store usually.
They team up.
Yep, and yeah, he was one of the top players, along with Patrick Sullivan, Eugene Harvey, which many players will not remember, but he was a national champion, I believe.
Yeah, concert pianist as well.
Okay.
Quick start here for Osyp, by the way. He is on the Humans deck that we highlighted coming into the round here. He kicked things off with a turn 1 Noble Hierarch, and he will follow that up with Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, using mana from said Hierarch, and red-green Vengevine on the other side of the table. Melissa, I'm going to let you theory craft at that deck a little bit to figure out what the heck's going on over there.
Okay, so this deck is super sweet. It's a take on Hollow One. It does play Hollow One.
Oh, it's this deck.
Right,
Oh.
and it plays a lot of ways to just get stuff into your graveyard fast, play an early Hollow One. It also plays Flameblade Adept for your discard synergies, and it'll discard Vengevine and then cast really cheap things like Mana Dorks. Vexing Devil is in this list as well. And then it gets the Vengevines into play super early, and then its finisher is Goblin Bushwhacker.
Oh, man.
So you can just give everything haste. I mean, the Vengevines already have haste, but like this deck is probably a little bit less consistent than Hollow One, but like way more explosive when it works.
Can win a turn early with the Bushwhackers. In the meantime, it looks like a bit of a slower start here from Christian, with an awkward pair of Grim Lavamancer there. Of course, the first one can be quite good, does some work, but the second one usually cannot, unless you can kind of explosively put cards into your graveyard, which Christian's deck should be capable of doing. There's land number 2 from Osyp. He did not play that before, so now he's going to have to decide how he wants to go. Grim Lavamancer against Thalia looks pretty strong, though.
Yeah, Christian's deck plays a lot of non-creature spells, like Cathartic Reunion is one of his enablers for his Vengevine, so he's going to have a pretty slow start with this Thalia staring down at him.
Yeah, there's a Thalia's lieutenant, so she's brought her friend to battle here. And this is going to get interesting, because if Osyp has a way to grow Thalia one more counter, she will be clear of the Lavamancers, but that's a difficult thing to do, and it looks like he's just going to pass the turn back here.
Yep, Christian's going to need a land and a Faithless Looting to fill up his graveyard to kill this Thalia.
Does he play fetch lands?
Let's see.
Can he just draw a fetch land?
He does
maybe?
play 8 fetch lands, actually. Actually, it looks like 9. Yep. So,
okay, so there's 9 more outs for him.
All right, there's the Faithless Looting.
But like you said, he's still a land short. At least currently, he's got to find one, though, with Faithless Looting, right?
Yeah, it looks like he found one. He also has a Hollow One in hand, so he has a couple of choices of what to do this turn. There goes a Hooting Mandrills. All right, cycling of a Street Wraith means he can play a free Hollow One this turn. And still be able to play a Mountain and use his Grim Lavamancer. So this is going to be a great turn.
Wow.
The second Hollow One.
Geez,
yep.
2 Hollow Ones, and as you said...
And I expect... he didn't have a land there, huh?
He did. He discarded it, I think.
Oh, he discarded the land.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he must be holding something really good then.
Well, he must have just said, I don't care about Thalia quite as much if I've got 2 4/4s. Now, they will not be able to profitably block Thalia for the turn.
He could double block.
But he could double block, exactly.
And there's no fear of Collected Company this turn, because Thalia actually prevents Osyp from casting Collected Company.
Yeah, he still needs to hit a land drop to even be technically in range, let alone at all.
Yep, this deck usually plays a low land count and makes up for it by playing Ether Vial and Noble Hierarch.
And is that the version that Osyp is on as well, Melissa?
Actually, I don't see any collected companies in his list.
Okay, so he's just on the Ether Vial plan then?
Yep, exactly.
All right. A little awkward for Osyp as he hasn't drawn an Ether Vial, and Ether Vial acting as both a ramp spell and a mana fixing spell in the deck, though the human's mana base is really kind of interesting with Unclaimed Territory coming in to the metagame. All of a sudden it had access to 3 different copies of lands that untapped produce any color of mana for humans, even sometimes with an upside like in the case of Cavern of Souls, making the humans uncounterable. And boy, it's impressive, this mana base. It just plays Ancient Ziggurat and Cavern of Souls in there as well, and it's just
it just allows you to play so many colors.
Yeah.
Like he has Kitesail Freebooter, Mantis Rider, which is 3 different colors of mana.
Mm-hmm. God, my favorite thing in the whole world, Melissa, is playing Blood Moon against this deck.
Yeah, but you still have Vial and Noble Hierarch, though, so...
It's true. You got to kill the Vials and the Hierarchs, or else they can still eventually cast their spells.
Public service announcement. I'm aware, as you are all, of the glare. We are working on this, but we don't want to interrupt the players mid-game. So as the tables finish, we're trying some things to get glare better. So it is not up to what we would like. We're sorry about that, and we will continue to try and improve your viewing experience, which is why we brought these two here.
Maybe we should bring them in from outside. I think the playing outside thing is not a good idea, Rich. No. Yeah, we should kill that idea. Yeah, the sun's clearly...
But it's such a nice day out.
Yeah, that's what the players said too, but it's not all about them.
But having outside's about what Hartford's got going for it.
It is beautiful here. I woke up and it was sunshine, so I was happy about that.
Our connecting flight here was in Minneapolis, and I heard they're getting 15 inches of snow, or like they got it last night or something.
Well, I was sitting on the runway for 2 hours and 56 minutes last night, Melissa, and I got about, I don't know, half of that snow on the airport. We somehow stumbled out of there at, I don't know, midnight or so.
Wow.
Yeah, not good. All right, so Osyp has made his decision. He's been taking it out while we've had our little discussion here, but looks like he's ready to rumble now. And I think he's going to start off with a Kitesail Freebooter, perhaps, though none of this looks fantastic from Osyp's perspective. These Grim Lavamancers are very problematic, especially if Osyp doesn't have the ability to add a bunch of counters to his team through maybe another Thalia's Lieutenant or something along those lines. Because no matter what's in Christian's hand, if he gets to untap with the double Lavamancer, he can just kill, for example, this Freebooter and the Thalia.
Yeah, Thalia's going to get... no, actually,
there we go.
Oh, so there's Thalia and Thalia's Lieutenant. But the Thalia's Lieutenant is going to get out of range.
That's right. And then he could also copy Thalia's Lieutenant here, and that would put the Freebooter out of range and Thalia out of range as well.
Yep, and looks like that's what he's doing.
Yeah, and now that I mention it, it puts everything out of range except for the Thalia's Lieutenant that is the image, but of course... doesn't really matter how many counters that gets on it, as if it gets targeted, it would get sacrificed anyway. But this is a nice sequence here for Osyp. He's significantly ahead on board now.
Just checking, wasn't this the game where those Grim Lavamancers were going to be really, really good?
Yeah.
That's what we thought.
The window closed. Christian decided to go for the double hollow one rather than playing the land and killing Thalia, and now he's facing down a massive Thalia, and then the rest of the board kind of got out of hand too.
Right.
And if Christian chose to discard, say, a Cathartic Reunion instead of a Mountain, then he could have used the Grim Lavamancer and he would not be in this situation.
Also, interestingly, Osyp did not put a counter on the Noble Hierarch, though I'm not exactly sure why not. I think he might have just missed it.
I was talking with him yesterday, and he said, I thought humans was going to be a kind of tribal thing where you run out a human on turn 1, maybe 1 or 2 of them on turn 2, and, you know, it all just sort of barrels out of control, and it's like a fairly basic aggro deck. That's part of why he wanted to play it. It was like, yeah, I'll play that then. And as he started playing games with it, he was like, oh, boy, everything's complicated, isn't it? And there's interactions all over the deck and with all the opponent's decks. So he said, look, if you do put me on camera, I'm going to make mistakes for sure, because this is not a deck that he plays at F&M week in, week out in Modern.
And it is a tricky deck. You're not wrong about that, Rich. Sequencing with this deck, extremely punishing. That's the thing. It has great sequences available to it, but if you miss one by even a little bit, you can lose. There's an Ancient Ziggurat.
Also, if he chose to if he remembered the trigger and put counters on his Freebooter and his Thalia, the Noble Hierarch should get one. You can't just resolve half of a trigger.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm curious why they haven't actually resolved it, but my assumption here is that they just missed it.
Yeah, it looks like
both
they missed it,
players.
unless we're just wrong in what that Phantom image is copying, but I'm pretty sure it copied Thalia's.
Well, no,
because it has a counter now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
No, it did.
it's just a
he
mistake.
put him on everything else. And Osyp's getting rowdy here. It looks like the team's coming into the red zone and joined by a new friend, Mantis Rider.
Yep, so he can use his 2 Lavamancers to kill the Phantasmal Image and the Noble Hierarch, or he can go after one of the larger creatures.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he may need to start going after the
He might want to go after
other
the Mantis
creatures.
Rider here,
Yeah.
actually. Like, that's his biggest threat.
Yeah, Mantis Rider or Thalia also is hitting for 4 and can be quite a problem and is in range here. Looks like Christian's going to go ahead and block Thalia. And then let's see what Christian decides he wants to kill. Like you said, the obvious choice is the image because it's for free or because it guarantees to kill.
It does guarantee to kill.
But it's not really the biggest threat. That's the problem.
Right. He still has to exile 2 cards, still has to pay the cost.
Right.
And now that he lost a
5 damage.
Lavamancer, he doesn't have the option of killing the Mantis Rider with it next turn.
Yeah. He also didn't kill Thalia, so anything that costs more, 2 mana is going to be not enough. For example, even something like a Lightning Bolt from this point can still only kill one thing.
Yeah, and it actually
gonna
looks
scoop.
like he doesn't even have removal in his deck. Like,
Yeah.
his deck is kind of all in on his combo. He does have access to Lightning Bolt in the sideboard.
Yeah, so while Melissa takes a look at the deck lists and works out what might be going on in the sideboard, a reminder you're watching MTG Launch here in round 2. It's me, Rich Hagan, Marshall Sutcliffe, and Melissa DeTora with you. Maria Bartholdi and JVL will be back in harness for the last round of Launch in round number 3. Then it's the Pro Show, and then win and in 3 rounds of Magic, rounds 6, 7, and 8. Get to 6 wins, and you get to day 2. And then at the very end of the day, we're going to do a little feature called Extra Turns, in which I'll be with you in chat, watching back some of the matches that we didn't get a chance to put on camera that we've recorded during the day. Might have to play those a little bit quicker than normal, it turns out.
Now, what do you
yes.
mean you're going to be in chat?
It's going to be like a duo in the booth.
Okay.
With me on play-by-play.
Trolling the chat the whole time.
What do you mean? And my fabulous co-commentators in chat in the expert virtual seat. Isn't that right, everyone in chat?
Everybody believes you.
No, I have never trolled a Magic chat room in my life. You're looking at Christian Chagnon and Osyp Lebedowicz. There is, in that little yellow line between the two of them, that's what we call the experience gap. Because
that's what an experience gap looks
that's
like.
what it looks like. Yeah, it's a graded sort of gold to yellow. Christian Chagnon, 15 years old. Osyp's been playing Magic longer than Christian's been alive, by a lot.
That's right.
And this is Christian's first GP. So good on him, and well done for coming up with the button down and the tie.
He looks great.
In that top.
Looking super sharp, and Osyp supporting his favorite basketball team, the Portland Trail Blazers, who have they're in the 3rd seed in the playoffs, pretty strong.
Right, and did they have a local rivalry against the Seattle Supersonics?
They did.
When Seattle had a team.
Yeah. It's so brutal.
Just checking.
Like as a tear rolls down my eye.
All right, Melissa, back to the Magic. Tell us about sideboarding.
All right, well, I would expect Christian to bring in Lightning Bolts and Blood Moons here.
Okay, now
Those
are very good.
Yeah, like his sideboard is really straightforward. He just has cards that are just good in multiple matchups. So you have it's a very straightforward sideboard. He has removal. He has ways to kill artifacts. He has Blood Moon and graveyard removal. So his sideboard is very straightforward.
That's how you do it against these human decks. If you can get a Blood Moon down, make sure they don't have an Ether Vial in play, and kill any of the Noble Hierarchs, they just flat out cannot cast their spells, period. They will just sit there and say draw, go for the rest of the game. It is hard to do all of those things, but you don't need to do them all at once. You can, for example, kill an Ether Vial on turn 2 and then play a Blood Moon.
Yeah, I don't think Christian's going to bring in all that stuff that I said. I would just, like I don't think he cares about Ether Vial at all, but Blood Moon does shut him down a lot, and also Ether Vial limits 1 creature a turn. So if he has Vial, it's fine. Another downside of Vial is they're very terrible late game and not so good in multiples. Like if you draw 3, like
that's
you're
always
probably,
true, though, right?
You're probably going to lose. Yeah, that's why you can choose: do I play Ether Vial or do I play like a more powerful version of the deck with Bloodbraid Elves and Collected Company? So like those are the 2 options when you're playing humans. And it looks like Osyp went with the Ether Vial version.
Thoughtful question in chat. Future IDK says, I'm always surprised when they put a first-time GP player on camera. Do some research on the players. I would be hesitant to come back after being nervously forced to play on camera in my first GP. Future, that's a very fair point. So here's what happens. 1,800 players in the room. Of course, we can't find out about everyone overnight between Friday and Saturday. So what we do is we look for players that we know, and for example, here's Osyp, he's a Pro Tour champion, and we know that we want to showcase him in round 2. But we don't know, remember pairings go up only, 3-4 minutes before we get down to the match. We just don't have the time to find out enough about their potential opponents and audible into different matches. So often in the early rounds you'll see one player that we know we're going to show, and then it is often just someone who happened to have won their first round match. In this case it's a first timer. But yeah, it can be very nerve-wracking being down there. On the plus side though, right, he's playing a Pro Tour champion at a Grand Prix at 1-0.
I'll tell you what, I think Osyp's a perfect example for this. A 15-year-old Osyp would love this. He loves the attention. He's he hams it up for the camera. We had one of our funniest moments at a GP last year with Osyp when he bluffed Owen Turtenwald for 1 point of damage and celebrated as if he had just won a Pro Tour.
And it kind of rippled all the way around the pitch.
It was a team event.
It was cascade bluffs.
It was unbelievable. Oh, my God.
So GPs are so much different
Just got
today
sidewired by
than they were back in the early 2000s. So my first GP was 2001, and I didn't have buys, of course. And once I got to round 4, when the pro players came in, I played against a pro player every round. And that's just how it was.
Right.
I mean, give us a ballpark. How many players would you guess were in that tournament?
Probably between 400 and 500. And that was
we have
GP
Popper
Boston.
side events,
Exactly, yeah.
That now.
Yeah, things were just way different.
And that was in Boston.
That was in Boston, yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I'm from New England, so my hometown GPs and PTQs were Boston, Rhode Island, Hartford, stuff like that. So,
and we're back underway here in game number 2. Osyp leads things off with a card that we had a long chat about there, Melissa. Ether Vial. And that's got to be the best turn 1 play that Osyp has.
Yeah, especially if Christian did decide to bring in Blood Moon. It'll just make him just be able to play around it really well.
So let's see how this goes here for Christian. Because the other side of the coin here, Melissa, is that we've been talking about it in terms of Christian stopping Osyp's game plan. But Christian has explosive game plan of his own, right? Spewing a bunch of Vengevines on the battlefield.
Yeah, like his plan is to just discard 2 Vengevines, cast 2 free creatures.
Yeah, here, take 8, nice 1-2.
Probably more than 8. Like, he can, like, if he has Bushwhacker, if he goes discard double Vengevine, and then play like Hollow 1 Bushwhacker with Kicker, that's a lot of damage. I did not do the math, but that's more than 20 probably.
That's why words like lots got invented, so we didn't have to do the math. That's also why Frank Karsten was invented.
Exactly.
Many damages.
Yeah, I always look at Frank Karsten's article whenever I want to know like statistic things. It's like, oh, how many lands should I play?
Yeah, if you're not...
Let me go to Channel Fireball and find out.
If you are not reading Frank Karsten, you're probably doing it wrong. There's a probability that you're doing it wrong. It's like 79.83%. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So this is a big turn for Christian. Let's see what kind of discard outlet he has here. If he has Cathartic Reunion and he discards Vengevine, he could have a really explosive turn. So
yeah, I want to see Christian do his thing. I don't want to see him react to Osyp. I want to see him.
Yeah, this deck is really fun to see in action. All right, there's the Cathartic Reunion, Vengevine, and other card.
Now he's going to draw 3.
Did he? Yep, he drew 3, yep. And he did not have a follow-up hollow one there.
Man, that is crazy, that combo, though.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch this deck in action.
And right away, the most annoying card in the deck from Osyp is
Christian doesn't care
Thalia.
about it too much. He already cast his Cathartic Reunion.
Fair enough. I stand by my words anyway, Melissa. Maybe not in this matchup, but Thalia is extremely annoying in Modern.
It can be brutal against some matchups, specifically blue matchups that play a lot of one-mana cantrips.
Blue-red thing in the ice.
Yeah, guess what deck I play
for
in
sure.
Modern.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Are you a thing in the ice?
No,
Oh.
I do play blue-red, though.
Right.
I just play the Through the Breach deck. You know, that runs counter spells and cantrips and all the stuff that Thalia just goes.
I saw a blue-red deck in this tournament running Enigma Drakes, which
Cool.
I thought was pretty interesting. That's very much one of the key components in the blue-red deck on MTG Arena right now.
How cool would it be if a blue-red Storm deck sided out the combo and sided in Thing in the Ice and Enigma Drake? Transformational sideboards. We don't see very many of those anymore. The old Splinter Twin decks used to have transformational sideboards where they would just side out the combo and side in just stuff, go aggro.
And there's a Vengevine.
All right.
And there's a Goblin Bushwhacker.
Yep, so we went Insolent Neonate into Goblin Bushwhacker with Kicker.
Which earned him
returned
the Vengevine.
The Vengevine, right. And this will be, well, he can't attack with the Bushwhacker, it'll just get eaten by Thalia, but the other two can attack pretty freely.
Yeah, the Neonate
Due to
has
Menace.
Menace.
No,
Can't do that.
Can't do that. He could have blocked if he had Noble Hierarch, but looks like he didn't. That would have been a huge blowout for Christian if he just vialed in a Noble Hierarch and double blocked. But this Ether Vial is going to help Osyp catch up pretty quickly because he can just play 2 creatures in 1 turn, depending on what he has. But it looks like he has a lot of lands in his hand.
He also has multiple 3-drops. He's got a Reflector Mage and a Mantis Rider.
So there's the Mantis.
Yeah, and this is, of course, the source of the most damage, that this human's deck can put out is Mantis Rider. Bang, hit you for 3 right off the bat. And it just represents 3 damage for the rest of the game. Also a fine blocker thanks to Vigilance.
Yeah, I think I did see a Lightning Bolt in Christian's hand. So for 2 mana, he can take that out pretty easily. Even if Osyp decides to block with Mantis Rider on Vengevine, Christian has a lot of ways to just get it back, so he won't care very much. I didn't get a good look at Christian's hand, so I don't know what his plan is here, but he could have Faithless Looting or another Cathartic Reunion. And he does have to worry about any 2-drop out of Osyp.
And with, 3 or 4 cards in hand for Osyp, Christian has to assume that he has
Yeah,
something.
it's very likely he has something. Like, we, of course, know he has nothing, but Christian definitely has to be thinking about what Osyp can have here. Grim Lavamancer is a great card here. Oh, and Bushwhacker gives it haste, so he can just take out Thalia now if he wants. Very nice.
That is cool. Not necessarily what that Bushwhacker's in there for, but he'll take it.
Exactly.
That is sweet.
Very nice play.
And now Christian is doing the math in his head about what if Osyp has a number of different 2s.
Yeah, attacking with this
decided just to
Insolent Neonate is a little weird here because it is very likely that it just gets eaten. But
yeah, especially,
still had nothing.
another Thalia Guardian of Thraben, right? I mean, you could unlock that in your opponent's hand. But
Yeah, absolutely.
All of the first strikingness.
Osyp is going to need a lot to catch up here. I see Reflector Mage, and he did draw another spell. I can't really tell what it is. Oh, it looks like is it Staticaster, actually.
Ah.
Okay. That looks actually great here.
Out of the board?
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
out of the board, absolutely.
Yeah, there's 2 Goblin Bushwhackers. He could take those out immediately. There's also the Grim Lavamancer as an option. He could even kill the Neonate. It only has 1 toughness.
So Osyp is going to have a great turn here. He can Vial in Reflector Mage, bouncing the Vengevine. And then he can cast the Is It Staticaster because it has Flash and just take out either both of the Bushwhackers or the Grim Lavamancer.
Yeah, and this, of course, is we were talking about the upside to a card like Ether Vial between games, Melissa, and now you're going to see it, right? I mean, Osyp in a low-to-the-ground, extremely mana-intensive Humans deck is going to cast 6 mana worth of stuff this turn, and it's going to completely swing the game in his direction.
Yep, he's going to get completely blown out here, but Christian does have a Lightning Bolt, which will help a lot. He can bolt the Mantis Rider before blocks, and at least something will get through. Probably just the Neonate.
And it's 6 life.
Yep, so he does bounce the Vengevine, which is what we expected.
Every point counts here for Osyp.
So now Christian has to think, do I bolt Osyp's face and try and finish off with Grim Lavamancer? Or do I bolt a creature and try and get more combat damage in? It's pretty interesting because the
really
Staticaster can just kill the Grim Lavamancer.
But then the
Bushwhackers get through.
Wow.
So here's the 3 off Ether Vial. And now we get that Staticaster we've been talking about.
I would be thinking about bolting the Mantis Rider now, though, before blocks happen. Although, if Osyp decides to go after the Bushwhacker with the Staticaster, then the Grim Lavamancer will just finish Osyp off.
Yeah, Osyp has to be considering a card like Lightning Bolt at this point, though he didn't see one in the first game. And this red-green Vengevine deck is a little off the radar. This isn't the type of deck that you'll just know the base configuration for. Even if you play a decent amount of Modern, it's not a big part of the metagame.
Yeah, definitely not.
And cards like Lightning Bolt could very easily be in a deck like this, and they also could very easily not. This does play out like a combo deck in many ways, and those are the type of cards that you see cut in combo decks. So it's really interesting choices here for Osyp. But Christian, with these blocks, can just say, sure.
So he went after the Bushwhacker.
He did.
Which means the Lightning Bolt is going to get him.
Did he end up taking any damage this turn, though?
No, but he can go Grim Lavamancer you, bolt you, and then untap and Grim Lavamancer you again.
Well, but Osyp does still have the Staticaster here. Or no, he loses it, doesn't he?
Right, yeah, he tapped it.
Yeah. All right.
So let's see if he does that, which I'm not sure he did. I think he actually killed the Staticaster.
He did. He finished off the Staticaster. I think that Christian just looked at it and said, well, you're going to get to untap with Staticaster. You're just going to kill my Lavamancer if I start bolting your face.
Yeah, but if he did have a bolt in hand, he could have just won because that's 7 damage. So maybe he didn't have the bolt.
How is it 7?
4 from Lavamancer because you do 2 to him, untap, do another 2, and then bolt. So he must have not had bolt.
But isn't it Christian's turn right now?
Yes, but he could have bolted him instead of Staticaster.
Right.
Sorry, he could have Grim Lavamancered Osyp instead of
that puts
Grim
him to 4, but then he says go, right? And then Osyp gets to untap with the Staticaster. Am I wrong here?
No, you're right. I'm just wrong.
Okay.
I was just like misunderstanding where we were in the turn.
Yeah. This was Christian's attack step, and then he went through. So, but still, Christian did end up protecting then his Grim Lavamancer by finishing off the Staticaster and maintaining this line that will now take an additional turn, to be fair, but of using the Grim Lavamancer to try to finish off Osyp. And, of course, Osyp doesn't know about the bolt either.
Also, I think he just didn't have a bolt because he has no cards left in hand. I'm not sure what that creature is he just played.
That's a Kargan Dragonlord.
Whoa.
Right? Is that not what that is?
Kargan Dragonlord is the 2-mana level up creature?
Yeah, maybe that's not
No,
what
no,
that
no,
is. I have no idea what that is then.
Yeah, what is that? Can we get a card viewer
Everybody
or something
says
of
it's
what that is?
everybody says it's a dragon.
It is a dragon for sure.
It's definitely
it
a
has
dragon.
flying. but I-
Avaricious dragon,
Oh,
says someone.
the avarice
Oh,
dragon.
is that the one that is a grafted skull cap? The one where you discard your hand and draw 2?
Avaricious dragon. Flying. At the beginning of your draw step, draw
Yeah.
an additional card. At the beginning of your end step, discard your hand.
Yep.
4/4.
That is sweet.
And that is 1/1.
Wow. Man, Christian went deep with this one for sure. And again, this is a good time to reiterate my earlier point that you never quite know what's in these deck lists for these fringe ones, right? Like Avaricious
he's playing
Dragon?
one
Come
copy.
on. Oh, really?
One copy of Avaricious Dragon. Yep.
That card was from Origins, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. Reminiscent of Grafted Skullcap from Urza's Saga.
What did that do? See, you said, is that the Grafted Skullcap? And I'm like, I don't know what Grafted Skullcap
So Grafted
is.
Skullcap is a 4-mana artifact that has the Avaricious Dragon text.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It just
There you go.
has draw an
So-
extra card during your turn, and at the end of your turn, discard your hand. It was played back in Standard alongside Ensnaring Bridge.
Mm.
So you just, like, end of turn, you discarded your hand.
That is not a new Magic card, Melissa. You went deep.
No.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, so you played this in, like, a red burn deck. So you never had cards in your hand, and then you had Ensnaring Bridge to make them never attack you.
Avaricious Dragon.
Yeah, that's where the copyright on the bottom, Marshall, both of the years say 1990 something.
Well, Melissa did say her first GP was in, what'd you say, 2001?
2001 was my first GP. I've been playing Magic since 97.
Oh, same here. Tempest pre-release.
Okay.
My very first tournament.
Yeah, the first packs I bought was actually Tempest. I got a starter deck, which those don't exist anymore, but a starter deck was just a deck of like 75 cards. You got a bunch of lands.
Yeah.
How aware of you were you of the Pro Tour at that time?
Not at all, because I didn't even go to my first tournament till like 99-ish.
A few years later.
Yeah.
You see, I'm exactly the opposite of that, because the store I went into, they sent me to the back room and said that they'll teach you a game. And there were 7 people in there.
That sounds scary.
6 of the 7 had already played on multiple Pro Tours. And the other one and I would go on to play on multiple Pro Tours. So I thought they were teaching me the rules of the game when they said, no, what you're going to do is you're going to wait for their end step, then with that on the stack, you're going to respond by dealing 2 to that, 1 to that, and 1 to that. And I thought, but it doesn't
Welcome to
say
the
that that's what it says on the card. And then we're like, oh, yeah, but we're teaching you how to be competent at the game. And it was basically all the best UK players. John Ormerod was around near there and had already made the Pro Tour top 8 at Mainz a few months previously in 97. So, yeah, I just stumbled into just the best players in the country.
One of my local stores was Your Move Games.
Oh, my God. That's
a lot of
absurd.
players don't know what that is anymore.
YMG.
Yep, but former pro players who are now Hall of Famers. One of them I actually work with, Dave Humphreys.
Humph.
All right. We are in business again. Here comes game 3 of round number 2 between Christian Chagnon and Osyp Lebedowicz. Here's Marshall Sutcliffe and Melissa DeTora.
Thanks, Rich. So it looks like another good start here for Osyp. Perhaps not quite as good as the Ether Vial on turn 1, but this is an even more explosive with Champion of the Parish, a card that can get wildly out of hand very quickly in the hands of this human stack.
Yep, this is the type of card that just adds a lot of variance to your deck. It's amazing on turn 1 and horrendous on turn 5, 6.
Right.
So he has it on turn 1, which is exactly the turn he wants it.
Really simple card, nothing fancy about it, but that thing easily could become a 4/4, a 5/5 in this game within the next few turns. It doesn't take much, just Osyp casting his spells. That's all it takes.
Is he going to go double 1-drop? No.
Just one drop
Just
this time.
one 1-drop.
Still, he's getting in for 2 damage already, and like I said, it could easily be 3 or 4 by next turn, and Christian is going to have to now defend against that while trying to
I see
enable
a
his
hollow
own
one
game plan here. All right.
So let's see what his discard outlet is. Insolent Neonate is not enough. It only lets him discard 1 card. But if he has a Cathartic Reunion, then he can just play a free hollow 1. Insolent Neonate, a card that enabled Madness decks in Shadow's block draft, and now a modern all-star. So he's playing both Dredge and decks that want to discard cards like this one.
Yeah, somehow that's the card that ended up being good. It's just so weird how that works out.
Great to get Michael Jackson on the stream as well.
I like the flavor text. When we're at dinner tonight, Rich, I'm going to say that to you at some point.
Manners of Immortals, as you just steal my fries.
Yeah, steal your fries and wipe my face with your napkin.
Oh, would you? I'll look forward to that.
Stare you down. Here's a Faithless Looting. Talk about all-stars. That card is creeping up my list of, the Eye of Sauron is on it. Like, wait a second. Is this card a little too good? That is absurd card selection plus
It's one of the best
combos.
card draw spells in Modern, which is kind of messed up because it's a red card. Like, I would expect it to be a blue card, right?
Definitely.
Okay, he's going to... You have to discard first. Did he discard? I don't know if he did. I hope he did. Oh, no, he drew that in the wrong order.
You're just saying because he ended up with a Vengevine?
Yeah, if he just drew the Vengevine off of the Faithless Looting instead of right now, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's 1 hollow 1. All that work for a hollow 1.
Well, but he also has now cast a second creature for the turn, so that Vengevine is going to trigger, and he's going to start trying to race Osyp here.
Yeah, he has to. He has 2 4-power creatures in play.
Yeah, and we get like that was a little clunky how that all came together, but let's just take a snapshot here, Melissa. Look at that. He's got 8 power on the battlefield. We're still very early in this game.
Yeah, Insolent Neonate.
Really
a
kind
lot of work.
Powering through here. Yeah, impressive stuff. And how is Hollow on a 4/4? Doesn't even have hands.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, this is an R&D thing that you guys need to figure out. Now, see, Vengevine does have hands.
Oh, yeah, it has, like, really big tree hands.
Yeah, kind of thorny, yeah.
But it only has 3 toughness.
That's right.
But it's a tree. I don't get it.
Yeah,
like,
it's a little weird.
Yeah, like, Hollow 1, he's hollow. How does he have power and toughness?
Seriously.
I would expect him to be a 1/1.
A paper mache guy with no hands, and he's a 4/4? My goodness.
Like, I would expect him to be like, when he takes damage, destroy him.
Yeah, just falls apart.
Yeah.
Turns into dust. Yeah, I like it. You should be an R&D.
I'm not sure that's quite how R&D works, Marshall.
I have no idea
He
how
doesn't
R&D
have hands. You should destroy him when you touch him. I'm...
I feel like Melissa and I
that
really kind of cracked the code here, but we might be a little off.
They never said things like that on the Inside R&D videos when I made
them.
No,
they don't. Although I do assume at the moment that everybody from R&D is at home eagerly taking notes on our great ideas. Huh? I'm just going to go ahead and keep assuming that.
I'm pretty sure some people on the creative team will, like, yell at me for saying what I said, probably. They're probably like, no, don't you know what this guy is? And then they'd tell me his life story.
Yeah, well, they'd probably be right. We don't know what that guy is. All right, here's Mantis Rider. And Mantis Rider's going to get in there for 4 damage. Not Christian. Down to 11.
Yep, 4 damage thanks to this Noble Hierarch.
The champion, though, still remaining just a little too small for attacks. As it did pick up a +1/+1 counter there, but only a 3/3 at the moment. And the Hollow One successfully holds back the attack on the ground. Osyp again trying to race. This has been a really interesting game. The players are just kind of throwing haymakers at each other. 4 damage in the air, 4 damage on the ground.
Yeah, and I don't really see, like, I don't see a Hollow One or another Vengevine, so I think Christian is going to have a hard time here. I don't think he really has much action. Just a lot of discard spells.
Yeah, and Street Wraith just getting cycled away.
Down to 9 for
Click.
Christian, yeah.
Ow.
Tick-tock.
Yeah, he really needs a bolt.
Does he even have them?
He has them in the sideboard.
Okay.
I would expect him to side them in.
Smashing in.
But he's just going to get rowdy here and actually offer the trade for Osyp on the ground. Vengevine for champion of the parish. Osyp declines, takes the full 8, and falls down to 8 himself. But the only follow-up for Christian is a Grim Lavamancer. Doesn't do much this turn, and Osyp has a mighty hit on the backswing as well.
Yeah, I think this Grim Lavamancer is going to have to chump block.
Yeah, currently Osyp's best attacks give him 6 damage, but he has not cast a spell yet, and that could change easily. Another Mantis Rider, for example. Any number of humans. I think I see, and is it Staticaster?
I do see one. Yep, he has it.
That seems pretty good. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't die. So Osyp's probably thinking something like, okay, if I play Staticaster, kill Lavamancer, hit you for 7, put you to 2, leave back my Hierarch to block. What are the chances my Hierarch gets killed and you kill me?
Well, Osyp has not seen a bolt yet in any of the games. So if I was in Osyp C, I would just go for that play that you said. Just kill this Lavamancer, attack for 7, and then just hope the Hierarch is good enough to block and win me the game next turn.
He also knows that Christian's kind of constricted here. He's only got 2 mana sitting there. So it's not...
It's true.
It's not like there's an awful lot can come out of Christian's hand. Obviously, lightning bolts can.
Also of note here, Mantis Rider itself, of course, can... Oh, no. Is that Athalia's Lieutenant? I was going to say Mantis Rider also will have the ability to block as it has Vigilance, so he will have a backup plan, but this is a devastating attack now for Osyp.
Yeah, but it's still okay because Christian can block and then take 4. He will die next turn unless...
Yeah, Osyp has an Ether Vial, but...
oh, a Vial, okay.
Yeah, but Christian's going to need a pair of Lightning Bolts to finish off this one. He actually could find it. He's going to need to find a mountain and... No, he's not going to be able to get there with Faithless Looting here. He would have needed to have a Lightning Bolt in his hand already, find another one with Faithless Looting. Even then, he still doesn't have enough to actually poke through for the win, as Osyp would be able to trade off in the air.
Yep, yeah, I don't think he has any outs here.
Nah.
Osyp has too many chump blockers.
Chump / Mantis Rider. And Osyp looking to be in a great position here. I think no matter how he played it last turn, he would be in a pretty safe spot. But as it stands, the Thalia's Lieutenant was one of his best possible options. Christian's just going to go ahead and jam here. Doesn't really have much of a choice. Osyp deciding what he wants to chump block with. And also looking at his hand. He still has a Staticaster. He has a Necromancer there too.
So Osyp is probably thinking, if I chump block both of these, how do I die? Christian hasn't played a land yet.
Also, if I chump block 1, how do I die? Right?
Yeah.
Like go to 4, you have 1 land available, maybe a land drop coming, but 4 damage is a lot to ask from a red-green Vengevine deck off of 1 spell. That ain't happening. Also, you know, Osyp has to wonder, well, do I really need these creatures anyway? This looks like a desperation attack, which it is, by the way. This is just Christian going through the motions and saying, well, I'm going to put maximum pressure on you. But Osyp says, sure, okay, fine. I'll chump block with 1. You can play a Flameblade Adept or whatever, but he's comfortably got lethal here. 4 in the air plus 1 on the ground,
yep, and
with his
he's
opponent
tapped
out.
So. And 1 card in hand, there's just nothing he could have here.
Yeah, and Osyp probably just going to play the Staticaster to be safe. It does put another +1/+1 counter on the Lieutenant.
Yeah, might as well just...
Yeah, either one. He can play the Necromancer. It doesn't really matter.
Ooh, the Necromancer's a nice card.
Yeah, that's a sweet one. And that is going to do it. Christian extends the hand, and our Pro Tour champion from all those years ago, back in the feature match area in GP, relatively close to where he lives. And he's going to pick up round number 2 here, Rich.
He certainly is. Great stuff there. Osyp Lebedowicz wins. So, Melissa, we need a card of the match in round 1. It was Hollow 1. This time around, the Hollow ones were on the wrong side of things. So
right.
what have you gone with on the Osyp Lebedowicz side of the board?
So I went with Mantis Rider because that was just the card that has evasion, hard to block.
The closer.
Yeah, it dealt lethal damage both games.
Yep, so Mantis Rider adds to our card of the round, but there is more to come in this round. We're going to take a very quick break, and then we're going to find you some time walk action here in round number 2 from Grand Prix Hartford. And our special guest, Adam Lizzi.
Adam, welcome to the booth. It's nice to have you along. You get to watch yourself play.
Yeah, this is a little weird for me. This is my second camera match.
Okay.
The last one was limited, New Jersey,
Uh-huh.
in December. I
Well-
got absolutely rolled by Carnage Tyrant both times.
Oh, yeah, that does that.
That card can be a beating.
So tell us about your deck a little bit here, Adam. You're playing white, black, smallpox here.
Yes.
What is this nonsense?
Mainly black, but
Mhm.
we're splashing white for a bunch of double white cards. I'm sure that sounds like a great idea. So the goal is to smallpox the opponent into oblivion. So we have discard effects like Inquisition Kozilek, Liliana the Veil. Then we try to close the game out with either Gideon of the Trials or Lingering Souls. Or I guess Ally of Zendikar in there somewhere too.
Okay. And when you see your opponent run out ye old lightning bolt here in the early turns, are you happy or sad?
Oh, I can't tell you how big my smile was. So this deck is really good against combo strategies. Anything that's trying to string a whole bunch of cards together, because I have a lot of disruption that can pick it apart. And Burn is a combo deck. Like, it wants to put 6 or 7 lightning bolts together, basically. So I feel very good about being able to get cards out of my opponent's hand and or disrupt whatever creatures they want to play.
Well, you must feel great because you're actually just casting Night's Whisper here.
Yes.
You're adding fuel to the fire for your opponent.
I wasn't super happy about casting this Night's Whisper, but the other cards in my hand, I think, are just a Liliana and a Gideon. So I felt like I needed a little bit more action than that. I also looked at my opponent's hand with the turn 1 Inquisition, and I saw 2 Searing Blazes. And I knew that those cards were complete blanks. They were not going to find a target if my hand is just Liliana and Gideon. So I didn't feel like my opponent was going to pressure me too much at this point, so we fired off the Night's Whisper.
Okay. Down to 14 for you. It's a little weird. I want to say for Adam, but you're also sitting right next to me. On the other side, of course, Ezra's going to try to piece together something, but it ends up being land go here for turn number 3. Now, what does a win look like for your deck, Adam? If you are to enact your game plan in a way that you want to, how does it end?
So the nut draw is turn 1 Urborg, turn 2 Flagstones of Trocaire.
Yep.
So now my lands produce, despite Flagstones being basically a plains, it produces black. I then can smallpox, sacrifice the Flagstones. I don't go down on mana that way. The Flagstone just recovers another land. I discard Bloodghast to smallpox. Bloodghast then recovers itself because the Flagstones creates a land drop.
Okay, this is getting cool.
Then my opponent is down on cards and on mana. I untap and play Liliana, and then they're just under the squeeze for the rest of the game.
This is my this is the fun police incarnate here, and we see Adam. You cast Liliana, and now we've got a Rift Bolt going on suspend for Ezra. That's all Ezra can come up with, though. Not a great turn here.
Yeah, I knew these.
You really stranded those burn spells in hand here for
Yes, I knew
Ezra.
that the Searing Blazes were going to be the cards that went to this Liliana, but I just wanted to deny him cards. At some point, I have to play a creature. He could theoretically hold a fetch land and then Searing Blaze Gideon a couple of times, and I don't really want to take that damage.
Now, you told us about the ideal opener, your nut draw.
Yeah.
How do you win? You attack with Gideon, or what happens?
So the cards that actually deal damage to the opponent are Gideon, Lingering Souls, Shambling Vent, and Bloodghast.
Okay.
So some combination of those.
But that's kind of the afterthought, right? Like you'll find a win somehow.
I don't really worry about winning until I'm pretty sure that my opponent can't win. So this is one of those kinds of decks where my game plan is pretty secondary.
I remember when Flagstones was in Standard, people played it alongside Boom Bust.
Ooh, that's a nice one too.
Yeah, but I tried that in Modern a lot, but it just couldn't really win. And this is just a way better execution of the how do I abuse my Flagstones.
And now we see Gideon. Gideon says,
Plus
that Sacred Foundry absolutely not dealing me damage next turn. But you do have a Gideon on 4. And what is the role of Gideon against the burn deck? Are you just going to start jamming with it?
I'm basically going to just jam with it, especially after this Rift Bolt hit Gideon. Then I felt like...
Jeez, that's good value.
Yeah, his plan is trying to remove this Gideon. I can't plus out of Lightning Bolt range, so let's just get in our hit while we can.
But you have to be thrilled with that, right? It's already eaten one burn spell, would have to eat another one.
I felt like I was at about 80 life at this point.
Okay. 14 going on 80, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a pretty full hand as well.
Yeah, I have a smallpox in my hand at this point, but I don't one awkward thing about Smallpox is that it is very, very good on turn 2, especially if you've broken the symmetry. But otherwise, it's kind of awkward. Like, there are some spots where you don't feel like you're getting more value out of it than, like, it's too symmetric.
Right. Yeah, your deck is designed to break that, but occasionally here you're effectively just getting that last card out of hand here from Ezra, though you knew what it was.
Yes. Well, I knew I was about to animate Gideon, and if I'm going to play Smallpox, I do not want to have an active Gideon. We will just lose him.
There you go. So now Gideon's going to come in, and this is actually a relatively quick clock. You also have Liliana on 6, so she's about to ultimate, and Ezra says, okay, I think I've seen enough. Yeah. So let's take a look at game number 2 here between Ezra Winston and our guest in the booth. Adam, do you say Lizzi or Lizzi?
I say Lizzi.
Lizzi.
Yeah, that pronunciation was lost about 2 or 3 generations ago.
Okay, Adam, Lizzi with white, black, smallpox. So as you mentioned, it is primarily black, and here's one of the key tools that lets you cast all your spells on time. There's Urborg.
Now I'm just thinking, I have Flagstones and Smallpox in my hand, so I'm thinking play creature, play creature, play creature, play creature. Let's get the full 5 for 1 here.
Now
he didn't do it. Oh no.
Yeah, Ezra
I was so sad.
So sad.
But still, what a great opener for you.
I also know that the burn strategies tend to be pretty light on actual mana producers, so I'm just going to fire this one off.
And here it is, namesake of the deck.
So do you keep Bloodghast in the deck post-board?
I do keep Bloodghast in. I don't have too much to bring in this matchup. I'm playing a bunch of Collective Brutalities main, so some versions of this deck are playing them in the board, and that's the card that you really want here. But I've already got him, so.
You can see you got one in your hand right at the front there as well, so that will come in handy. Collective Brutality, of course, just a savaging against this burn deck. It is the card they don't want to see.
I was very happy to see a spell go away here from my opponent. That's when I felt like maybe this Smallpox actually did something.
Right. That's kind of interesting to note what they actually take, huh? Or what they actually discard. They discard a land and try to cut it close. Oh, they probably have a lot more lands. That's good news for you. If they don't, then you got a spell out of it, and can't complain about that.
Yeah, like I said, in this matchup, it's about how many rectangles the opponent has. Like, it doesn't really matter what cards. A creature. Oh, yes. Now we're talking. This is going to be
business,
good.
Yeah.
This is going to be good. It doesn't really matter to me what rectangles I'm making them discard or sacrifice or whatever.
Great.
I just need them to have fewer rectangles.
You hearing this, Melissa? We've got rectangle math happening over here.
I usually call them pieces of cardboard, but rectangles is also valid.
I really like rectangles.
I understand what you're saying.
I've never heard that, but I am a big fan, Adam. That is a great way to describe this.
If you trade your pieces of cardboard for more than their pieces of cardboard, then you're probably going to come out ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just like this. This makes my job way easier. Like, all right, well, Adam's going to play a rectangle. This one's going to be upright. He's going to turn 2 of his rectangles to the side.
So the opponent discarding a non-land to Smallpox made me think that I might actually get a full Yahtzee here on this Collective Brutality.
So you're going to use it to kill, discard, and drain.
And I did.
And you did. You got a skull crack out of his hand as well. And
that is a beating.
That is nasty. And you even put a Lingering Souls in the graveyard, too. So
that's right.
Man, you are firing on all cylinders here. He top decks a Monastery Swift Spear.
And once again, I feel like I'm about 80 life.
Yeah.
Opponent's got nothing else going on and a Monastery Swift Spear in play.
Yeah, he needs to draw 3 burn spells in a row.
Yeah.
And even then, like, you have so many turns to just draw stuff.
Yeah, and I did just add a Shambling Vent, so the number of burn spells that the opponent was going to need versus the number of the amount of life I was getting. I think I was slowly going to win that race.
And who is hanging onto our camera bracket down there?
Yeah.
My goodness, somebody's just swinging from it like a like they're on recess in elementary school. Look at that thing go.
At this point, I'm trying to decide between playing Lingering Souls out of my hand or activating Shambling Vent, and I spent too long on this decision than I really needed to.
Yeah, I mean,
we're pretty far ahead here.
This is where you're just in that happy place.
Yeah, you could have just discarded Lingering Souls and casted 2,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Then your clock would have been a little faster.
Yeah,
but it doesn't actually matter, right?
Right. We're beyond the point where I feel like
like you can just do
really
probably 4 things wrong in a row and still win this game.
Oh, it was a very good feeling.
That's got to feel good.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I might actually do that next time I'm in that position.
Just
do wrong things and just like win anyway.
Yeah, I'll edict myself, attack you for 2, your move.
Okay, here comes.
This is disgusting.
Here
Now
comes
you're
some
going to
more souls.
flashback 2 copies
Yeah.
of Lingering Souls, and crowd cheers. That's just mean. And I think they're right, Adam. You're looking pretty mean here.
Oh,
this
yes.
deck is a lean machine.
This deck is
and you have them down.
Not one if you like your opponents. You will frequently reach the point where they're just kind of drawing cards and sighing.
What can you even
mean
draw
rectangles,
here?
Rectangles.
Yes.
They're
Oh,
drawing
yes. Rectangles.
Yeah.
That's correct.
We have to use the right terminology in the booth here, Adam. I'm sure you understand.
Yes. Yes, yes.
I was thinking a Lightning Helix would buy him a turn, and that's what he drew.
Okay.
Great. There's an extra. Well, no, I have Shambling Vent, so.
Oh,
Opponents at
you're
4.
right. You're right.
Oh, I love it. Take out one of his lands here.
Yeah, I was just going to use the Fulminator Mage to finish the game, and then I realized, A, I have Shambling Vent, and B, why give him green mana? Like, I didn't know what that could have accomplished, but just cut off as many things as I could.
And there it is, the lethal attack there from you, Adam. Great work.
Thank you.
You are up 2-0 here in the early stages of the tournament. It was fun having you in the booth as well to talk us through the deck. Would you recommend it to people looking to do something a little bit offbeat here in Modern?
Yes, it is a very fun strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little bit of time to get used to. You have to figure out what you're discarding to Smallpox. You have some strange triggers like keeping track of the Bloodghast, or do I Lily Plus first, or play whatever, and so on. But very satisfying.
What do you not? You said when you sat down, your opponent went Mountain Bolt you were like, yes.
Oh.
What do you not want to see on the other side of the table?
Lantern of Insight.
Okay.
That's not good. I do struggle against the sort of cheesy free win cards like Blood Moon and Ensnaring Bridge.
Okay, so those are the cards. Adam, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us.
My
in Booth.
pleasure.
We do appreciate it. We've got a short commercial break to end the round. When we come back, we'll have more live magic here from Hartford. Don't go anywhere.